Good day, friends. New week, new project, and again, how many times do I open a video by saying this? I've got something really special in today, and I'm always telling the truth. And let me show you. And the guitar's in here. It's in a big old case, and the guitar belongs to a band who you may have heard of. I'm going to show you the guitar, and it's a Ltd EC-1000-ET. It's a deluxe model. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. And you may have seen this at Download Festival, or if I said Kim Wilde, Kids in America, would that ring any bells? Well, it doesn't belong to Kim Wilde, this guitar, but it belongs to a band who did a song with Kim Wilde, Kids in America, and we did it at Download a few years ago, and we still do it. And the band are called Lawnmower Deth, and the thing is, what's wonderful about this is the owner of this guitar, Steve Nesfield, he came to me a couple of weeks ago with this guitar. And we got talking, and he didn't know who I was, and we got talking about, and he says, blah blah, we got talking about punk in the 80s and stuff like that, and he says, yeah, you might know my band. He says, Lawnmower Deth. I says, you're joking? I says, you might remember mine. He says, who? I says, Concrete Sox. He says, you're joking? And Lawnmower Deth and Concrete Sox, we used to play gigs together in the 80s. In fact, they were, I don't think you'll mind me saying this, they were always like, because they're a bit of a joke type band, they were always support for bands like us, Sacrilege, Deviated Instinct, whatever. But we had a big crew of bands at the time, and you'd got Concrete Sox from Nottingham, you'd got Dirge from Leicester, Deviated Instinct wherever they were from, you got the Bristol lot, Amoebics, Chaos UK, Disorder, and all that like, Sacrilege from Birmingham, Lawnmower Deth, Napalm Death, and we all knocked about together, and we're all part of the same circuit, and it was just fantastic, really, really good time. But anyway, so he came. And what a treat that was. But anyway, he's brought his guitar in, and he doesn't want anything particularly doing to it. It is a really nice guitar. But if you check Lawnmower Deth at Download with Kim Wilde, you'll see this guitar on that video. And it has got a big, old, weird tuning system on this called an Evertune. It's this big clunk. And basically it's all a spring-loaded system. It's very technical, very high-tech. And your guitar will never go out of tune with that on there. And I thought, I'll be honest, when Steve brought it around, I thought, a bit of a gimmick in it. He says, actually, no, he showed me it working. It's not a gimmick at all. It absolutely keeps your guitar in perfect tune. No matter what you do to it, you can pull the strings and just hang the guitar off the strings and it will still stay in tune. It's an amazing thing. But what I've got to do is, he sent this guitar in for a setup. He says, do whatever it needs doing, because you've got a gig with it next week. Do whatever it needs doing. So we're going to give it the intensive treatment. And I don't know if it needs any fretwork or anything. I've got no idea. But what we are going to do is we're going to whip the strings off, if I can find out how. And we're going to give it a setup. And I'm going to have a go at this Evertune bridge system. It's really, really technical piece of kit. It looks like the radius looks pretty bang on to me. So all being well, I won't really have to touch anything. It's just a matter of taking strings off, working the frets, working the fingerboard, checking everything, making sure the intonation's right, cleaning up the pickups. Got some beautiful Fishman pickups on there. And there's the Evertune system. And I'm going to take the back off and just show you how this Evertune system works, because it works more or less similar to our Trevolo would work. And without going into too much detail, each string has its own. These saddles and everything like that is all spring loaded. It's all very technical. You have to go and check it out on Google. I can't explain enough about it because I don't really know that much about it. I'm kind of learning as I go along. The Fishman pickups are active pickups, battery operated obviously. But anyway, I'll take the back plate off and I can show you a little bit more about this Evertune system. And yes, I myself, I'll hands up, I thought it was a bit of a gimmick. And they're 250 quid, these systems. I don't know how much they'll get fitted, but it's not a gimmick. I mean, look at this. There you go. Need I say any more? I'm not going to say any more because I wouldn't know where I was, but I'm hoping I can just take the strings out and put some new strings in and we're going to be okay. I imagine this has been set up pretty bang on anyway, but what I'm going to do with the strings on, as it is right now, we are getting some buzz somewhere. I think we may, oh hang on, we may need a new nut on here. Because I'm looking at it today because he wants his guitar back by the end of the week. Yeah, the strings are too close to the first fret. So we're going to need a new nut on that. We're going to get rid of that piece of junk what's on there or whatever it is, and we're going to stick a new one on there. So I'm going to let Steve know that. I've just noticed that. Let me just turn the camera down to the nut area. So it's going to be a new nut regardless. And there you go. And let me just zoom in. And that's pretty good. Here we have problems. It's the first time I've looked at the guitar proper. I've not had it plugged in or anything. I'm not too fussed about plugging it in. I'm not really into playing other people's guitars. I've got my own guitars. But anyway, feeler gauge. I would want to be 0.25 above that first fret on all of these strings or thereabouts. They're all too low. Right, new nut, regardless. So, yeah, too low. This is why we're getting buzz here. I'm going to measure that nut, go and get one ordered today so I can get one delivered by the end of the week, because he wants a guitar at the end of the week. I'll find out what that is. Still going to check the tuning and everything with the with these strings on. I'm going to do it right now. Might as well do it while the camera's running, don't I? I will move the camera again in a second. So new nut, definitely. Try and get that central somewhere like so. That's pretty good. Is that any good to you guys? That's where we are. So, okay. Yeah, the intonation's out. But not by much. This string's a little bit flat. String's a little bit sharp, so tiny bit flat, tiny bit sharp. We can sort that out. I'm going to message Steve, let him know what the crack is. Neck wise, 0.25 seems to be my marker, doesn't it? Looking about 0.25 under the 9th fret. So if I stick this under there, it should just rock as I get under there. And no, that's too low as well. A bit more relief in there. So it does need a set up. We'll take trussrod cover off while we're here. I'm going to set trussrod right now. Now that being an import PRS, might be a 5mm. Let's have a look. It's not PRS, sorry, it's an LTD. Okay, so it will be 4. Yep. Just going to turn that quarter turn on there, just till we get this where I need it, where I want it to be. Definitely a new nut, not supposed to cut too low. So not the one I can work on today. I may have a nut in stock. I'll have a look in my drawer in a minute. There you go. 0.25 is just hitting that there. That's where I would like to be. Can you hear it? That's perfect. So we got that right. The other buds there. Strings are too close to the first fret, meaning these nut slots are cut too low. So we're going to order a new nut. Going to loosen the strings. So that's staying in tune. stay in tune until we go really loose. It's all because these are all set to a certain tension. Quite ingenious. See? You've got to really start getting them loose to. So once you get them up to pitch, which takes quite a while to do, once you've got them all up to pitch, it's not going to go out of tune, this. Hear it? Go and Google it. Google Evertune. Evertune bridge. Pretty good. I wouldn't have one myself, I'm not really bothered about all that malarkey me. But for those who need to stay in perfect tune all the time, great piece of kit. Is it worth 300 quid? I'd say yeah, it probably is. Be honest. Strings are loose, which is what we like. Because why I'm here, we're going to check the frets. Okay, a little bit off straight. Just a bit more. Okay, now we're talking, we're straight there. Very nice. We're just going to check the frets, just down the middle first. I'm expecting these to be bang on because this is a Deluxe series guitar. We have, there's a high one high one, two high ones, 3, 4, four's good because you get 5 done on an intensive setup. So we are going to be, I believe we're going to just be okay there. So we're going to go with an intensive setup. Level 4 frets only, which is pretty good. Intensive setup, new nut. I think we know where we're going to go with that. It's going to cost about £100 this is to get all this done. New nut 10 quid, intensive setup 75 quid. Cost 25 quid fit the nut, it's going to be a 110 quid job this. Just give it a nice clean, proper setup and should be fine. Got to get that nut measured, get one ordered, and this is one we're going to come back to in a couple of days. I just want to point out something that really ticks me off a little bit about so-called deluxe guitars, and that is you knock the nut off and you get under it and you see just a piece of hollow graphite or a piece of hollow plastic. Why don't we stick good nuts on these guitars? You know, it ticks me off. Anyway, I'm going to measure this right now. I'm thinking it is going to be, we're going to replace that with something like a GravTech PT 63, is it a 6643? I think it might be, you know. I might have one in stock, it all depends. I've got some brand new old stock ones in, they're kind of brand new old stock. They've been on guitars but they were replaced. Let's zero that out. We'll go with millimetres, we're just going to check this one. Width wise we're going about 6mm, 6.11, which is bang on. Height wise 8mm or 7.7mm, so get one about 8mm high. I'm thinking, just see what I've got. My parts drawer might have one in. 6143, too thin. 6643, that'll be the one. I think that might be a bit low. 6000, too thin. Let's just have a look at this one. I don't think it's going to be tall enough. I'm going to go for something a little bit taller. Let's have a look. Certainly not going to be soldered on. Hang on. Touch and go. Probably a little bit too wide as well. No, it's not going to be high enough. This, it's more or less the same height. Maybe I've got something a little bit thinner. What we got here? No, it's certainly too wide. It's not going to be that one. And we're not sticking a white one on there. Right, let's go and order one. I'm going to measure this again. 6.1. About 8mm height. 42 wide. Highest point is going to be about 8. 8 by 42 by 6. Right, I'm going to get something ordered. And we'll come back to this when the nut gets here. Welcome back, guys. I'm running a little behind now on this guitar because, long story short, my car failed its MOT this morning, and even though the repairs wouldn't cost me too much, it would mean me taking a day or 2 days off work to get the car done, and it's got that many advisories on it, I decided to scrap it. So I've had to go out and buy a new car today, which I've done. I've not picked it up, but I've bought one, and I've lost all today, really. It's now around about 4 PM in the afternoon, and I've not done a stitch of work today, so this guitar should have been done today. But anyway, let's crack on and show where we are. The new nut arrived. We went with a Tusk, a 664 PT6643, which is proper fare for one of these type of guitars. Fits in beautiful, but it is, however, about 1mm wider than it needs to be, and I knew that anyway. So I'm going to have to shape it, which I expected to do. I've got to file some off each edge there. Also, the string spacing is a tiny bit wider, but it will work. We've got nothing to worry about. We'll get away with that, no problem. So we're going to keep well inside. It is slightly taller than the nut coming off. The nut coming off, now the owner questioned why it needed to come off. And I says, well, your strings are sat on the fret. And that's the way it is. And you see, the thing is, I can only work with what's in front of me. If the string's touching the fret, it's buzzing. He said, well, it didn't really bother him much. It's not the point, it don't bother you much. And he wasn't being funny, but I'm just saying, it didn't really seem to bother him that much. And I thought, well, it's all right, not bothering much, but the guitar doesn't play right. I do guitars properly. You know, I've got set ways, which are standard ways, but I'm meticulous about necks and guitars in particular, and nuts. So the nut was too low. You don't want your strings buzzing on there, even if you don't play any open chords. It's just not the done thing. It's not right. So anyway, we are replacing the nut. I'm going to shape that shortly. I'm also going to be leveling the 6 frets. I thought it was 5, but actually 6 frets with a rock. Number 20 up there. Number 18, I believe. It is 18. Number 13. Number 14. Number 13. Number 10. And number 7. So normally I wouldn't do 6 by hand, but I'm going to do 6 by hand because there's not a lot in these couple up this end. We still do, however, need doing. So that's what I'm going to be cracking on with this afternoon. Once these frets are done, I've got the nut file. I'm going to glue the nut in. We're going to shape the nut while it's on the guitar. So I'm going to see to these frets first. Simple fare. I'm going to take a flat file, just file across until they're level with these two at this side. In fact, I'll show you exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to crown on the spot 2 ways. I'm going to be using 3 files. First, I'm going to go across the top with a flat file, Swiss cut number 4 made by Valorbe. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep checking the height of the fret as I do it. It's good up to that point. So we are going to go basically nice and slow. Normally I'd take this up, but because I'm doing it by hand and I'm going to do a couple, what I'm going to do is I'll rest the file on these two fingers and just glide across, nice and smooth and nice and level. And so I'm not going to cut into the wood. Still high, not enough yet. Always wipe the file. I've not got my fingers underneath this time. That's because I know I'm steady enough not to have to do that. Check back and forth as well. We've got it level in the middle. Got it level everywhere. Just check back and forth. Make sure if I remove material from there, it might alter the relationship between these two and these two, but it hasn't. It means I've got that fret perfectly level. I'm just going to check all three areas with the frets before and aft, and that's perfect. And all we're going to do is we're going to take the crowning file. Already got a groove cut in there to make the perfect crown. I'm going to re-crown. Because this is already a profile, it's got the curve built in it. We're not going to touch the top of the fret. We're just going to basically rebuild that crown. And that's as much as we need to do. We'll give that a wipe. And I'm going to finish off with a diamond file. This is a super fine file, diamond encrusted. Again, got that curve in there, and we're just going to run across and just properly re-crown that fret. And that's that one done. Obviously I've got to polish this up later. That is beautiful. Nice crown in there. We'll just check the height again. And that's fantastic. And that's that one done. So always clean the files. See there, a little bit of residue on there. That's just by working one fret. Same with this one. Same with this one. 5 more to do. I'm going to crack on with them in a minute. I'll do those off camera. Regarding the nut shelf, this nut, the new one, is ever so slightly narrower than the original, but not by any significant amount. What have I done with it? I can't find it. Can't see it at the moment. This is a problem with getting loads of tools out, which I don't like doing. I will find it. Anyway, let's get on to what have I done with that? Right, I'll have to look for that in a minute. Just preparing the nut shelf itself. What I'm going to do is take a small file and just flatten this area, just nice and steady. Just remove any excess glue from the old nut. From the base there. I'm going to run a strip of 6mm tape across here. Not to do anything other than to just cover the truss rod, so we don't get any glue on the truss rod. What have I done with that nut? Is it in my pocket? It's not in my pocket. Right, don't know what I've done with it. I'll look for that nut and I'll come back and we'll crack on. The nut was right here, right under the headstock, that's why I couldn't see it. So what I'm going to do with the nut is, see how much overlap we have. I'm going to do it all by eye. And we are 1/2 millimetre this side, 1/3 millimetre this side. So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to take the same flat file, and I'm going to do this by hand completely. Take the flat side, and it's just a matter of just removing some from this side. I could also stick some sandpaper to the desk and just run this across some sandpaper, which is how I'll finish it. But I'm just going to get the rough shape. You're not going to see what I'm doing. I'm just going to get the rough shape and width with a file, and I'll do the final shaping in a vise. Just about getting the base width right at the moment. Concerning the height, I will shape the nut once it is on the guitar. Let's see where I think I am with that. That looks pretty good. Still a bit more. So I'm going to crack on with that. I'll get it all cut and shaped, and we'll see about gluing that on once I've got the shape right. With the new nut cut, shaped and glued on, and looking fantastic. I've just done a test run of one string just to see how much height we've got here, and we have got almost 1 millimetre above this first fret, which is great news because I'm going to have enough, obviously enough height to clear everything. But even if I wanted to move these string spacings in a bit or over a little, I could. Not that I have to. I've just checked the string alignment here, and it's quite close to the edge at this end. But at this end, but it gets further up the neck, it's plenty of room over there. I thought we might just be a bit close to the edge because the string spacing is a tiny bit wider. But I'm quite happy with how that's gone on. A little bit of fine tuning to do on this edge, which I'll get taped up and sand when I finish the frets. I just wanted to see what sort of clearance we've got there, and I'd imagine we've got probably 1 millimetre, which means I'm going to have to I'll reshape the nut on the guitar and recut the nut slots, which is good news. Let's have a look at something like, let's go with a, shall we 0.9, probably 0.7 will be a good one, I think. So try 0.6. So it's just over 0.6 millimeters clearance above that first fret. That is good. It's a lot, but it's good. It means we can recut these slots and reshape the nut anyway, which is exactly what I wanted to do. This nut was far too low. The strings, the two middle strings here were buzzing on that first fret. We need them to be above this first fret. If we want to go for a stupidly low action, 0.2 millimeters above the first fret is as low as you really want to go. You could get down to 0.15. I see some people recommend. Why chance it? Because once a nut's worn a little, after a couple of years, you're going to pour a new nut on it again. Get it to a nice, so 0.3 is good. So the closer we can get to 0.2 above the first fret, the better it will be for the guitar in the foreseeable future. With a nut now fitted and the frets levelled and re-crowned, I'm going to get on to polishing the frets, but first I'm going to treat the fingerboard. You know this is lemon oil. It's not lemon oil, it's mineral oil with a hint of lemon in there just to make it smell nice. It's specially formulated for wood, specifically rosewood, pal ferro, ebony. And what this does is, you'll get some people say spray it on, wipe it off. I had some guy come on and give me a load of bump on YouTube the other day. You don't do it with this stuff, you let it soak in 15-20 minutes, because what it's going to do is any grime, finger sweat or anything, this is going to get underneath and it's going to lift it off. A bit like WD-40 in a way. And then you wipe it off, then you give it a scrape or whatever, give it a clean. And if there's not a lot of muck on there, it will just soak into the wood and it will nourish and treat the wood. And I recommend you do this once a year at least. Well, once a year at most might be good. I mean, definitely do it once a year. So while that's soaking in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to polish the frets. Now, I'm not giving him a sandpaper polish. No need to be that extreme. And we are just going to go across with some steel wool. Again, other people say don't use steel wool on blah 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 getting pickups. Okay, not if you cover them up with tape, it won't. But steel wool is fantastic for bringing frets to a polish. We use the finest grade 0000 or quadruple 0. Super fine, as fine as you can get. We have the pickups covered up, they're active pickups anyway, the magnets are really weak in these, so you really have to go some to get some filings inside these pickups, but we cover them anyway. What we're going to do is we're going to use fret guards, different size for each end. That one there, this one here. Beautiful. I'm just going to take some steel wool, don't need too much. What I like to do first is just go down the edges on the bevels, just remove any gunk that might be stuck in there, both sides. Very nice tall frets these on this guitar, I really like them. Some little divots appearing in the frets, but nothing to be concerned about. It's not going to cause any rattles or anything. Certainly didn't warrant us doing a complete fret level and re-profile. This guitar's got years left in it before we get to that stage. But this guitar, with the new nut and the frets reprofiled and polished and leveled, a few of them levelled, this guitar should be good for many years now. Shouldn't need any fretwork or anything for years to come. But anyway, all we do is, with this, really simple, over the fret guard, get on these frets and get right in. Polish them up, and that is very nice. 21 more to do, so I'm going to crack on, get that done. Once that's done, we're going to move over to the other bench. We're going to get the neck in a vise and we're going to start to shape this nut. We'll shape the edges first, make sure it's all nice and flush. Once that's done, we're going to get some strings on and we're going to shape the nut with the strings more or less in place, and just reprofile it and get it filed beautifully, so you won't even know there's a new nut being put on there. This nut will last, I don't know how long it'll last, could last forever, I don't know. Very super hard wearing. They're made with composite resin, it's self, I'm not sure about what the substance is in there, but they are self-lubricated, permanently lubricated, man-made ivory. It is lubricated with Teflon, that's it, you go, Teflon. I was going to say silicone, it's Teflon. I should know that, I have some Teflon in that drawer over there. So there you go, so I'm going to crack on polishing these. And we'll let the oil soak in, we'll get that wiped off in a bit. And we'll move on, like I say, to the nut. I do have a video controller there it is, back soon. You're not really going to see the benefits of or how I've fitted this nut until I've got strings on. I can bring the guitar closer, but I've cut it right flush to the side of the body, so it's nothing sticking out, it's nice and smooth. And I can put the strings on the guitar now, and yeah, the nut looks really good. I know the nut slots are going to be too high, and I know the nut is going to want shaping across the top once I've got the strings in, but best thing to do for me is to get, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the strings on, I'm going to get the guitar tuned up, let's zoom back out, I'll get the strings on, get the guitar tuned up and check the Evertune system, because I've found out how to work this properly now. Basically, when I stick these strings on, they should automatically go into tuning when I tighten up on here, because it'll come to a point where I tighten more and nothing will change. It's all about the tension in this system, this Evertune system. It really is an ingenious system the more I look into it. But what I'm going to do is, once the string's on, I'm going to check the radius for one. I'm going to imagine we've got a 14-inch radius across here. I'm going to check anyway. Check the intonation, then we're going to cut this nut. So this is going to take me, I'm not going to stop working today till I've got this finished, because I've lost a day with my car and everything. So I'm going to get this one done tonight. I've been in touch with Steve, he knows I'm working, but he knows I'm behind. He says that's absolutely fine. He's arranged the time to come and pick it up, and it's all going to work out really well. So I'm not in any rush, it's just I'd like to get this one done and move on to the next one, because like I say, I've lost a day, so I'm a couple of guitars behind, and I'd like to get this one and another one done by the weekend. So and I will do, I'll probably get another 2 more done. But anyway, I'm going to get some strings on and I'll come back. Once I've got everything all set up, got the intonation set, got the radius set, and I'm quite happy with that, we'll come back and I'll cut this nut and I'll show you how I do it. Before I get onto the nut, I'm setting the guitar up and I've got the strings on. It's tuned to pitch, which in itself is remarkable with this Evertune system. You cannot knock it out of tune. I ain't got time to explain exactly how it works here, but if you've got the time, go and Google Evertune system and read it up. It's amazing. And anyway, I've got the strings on all to tension and I'm just doing the intonation. Just a little bit sharp on that D string. It's so easy to use. When you've got it tuned to pitch more or less, you've got one key fits all 3 different roles. You've got one for the saddles, for the tuning, one for the saddle height for the radius, and one at the back here for the intonation. Now I'm doing the intonation now, and I'm just checking the tuning because the tuning is a little bit sharp. And now I'm going to check the intonation at the 12th fret. It's bang on there. Check the G string. Now the G string's flat. And the string system is resetting itself here, and it's just perfect tune, perfect pitch. it's a little bit flat, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back up. Always tune a guitar in the playing position, because it makes a difference when it's laying down horizontal. Perfect. We'll check the 12th fret. That's again is perfect. A couple I've had to adjust. Very, very slightly flat. Let's find out where we are. But this Evertune system is fantastic. Google it. I was sceptical when I first came across it, but I didn't know anything about it, and it's a age-old trick. People slag things off that we've not tried because we've heard a rumour. So that's flat, that's good, because I can show you what's what. So we're going to the intonation. Because it's flat, we move the saddle more towards the neck, just to shorten the string length. And we still a little flat, so we're going to shorten the length again. And if the string goes out of tune, you need to tune up again on the normal tuner. Just bring it back to tension, make everything right. This is just fantastic. Tiny bit flat on the edge, just a little bit flat on the edge, so we need to just shorten again that string gauge, string length. Bring it back up to pitch, so you can tighten this more and it'll still stay at pitch. The spring system down there will counteract with what I'm doing at that end. Tiny bit sharp, so we're just gonna drop that off again. Very intricate system, but once it's set, it's amazing. I was sceptical of this at first, but it's just fantastic. And you can go mental. And that D is still in perfect tune. It's just remarkable. So go and check that out. We've got the guitar in tune. We've now got the intonation all done. Can put the key away. All I need to do now is I need to check that we have the amount of relief in the neck that I desire or I want, which will be 0.25 millimeters at the 9th fret, which will be there. No, it won't. That'll be 7. That's 9 there. I say 9th fret. We're obviously going between 9 and 10. Bear with me. Get a feeler gauge out, because if the truss rod is where I want it to be, all I've got to do is cut the nut. So balance looks pretty good. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So it's between frets 8 and 9. And there we're just rocking the up. Just touching, that is perfect. So that is good. I need to check the string height at the 12th fret. So I need the guitar on my knee again. So we're a little bit high. We are a little bit high. We're fine on the low E, but just high on the high E. Sorry, fine on the high E, string 1, 1.5, but we're about 2 millimeters on the low. So I'd like to go just a little bit lower on the bottom E string. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to lower the saddle height. I'm going to remove my glasses for this because I'm a bit close. Never done this part before. That's raising it, so we're going to lower it. This is easy, so easy. What a great piece of kit. What have I done with that? There we go. 1.75. And this one onto the radius. But there's 1.75. Check the tune. Because it's always going to affect tuning what we do in one area. That's it, it's tuned in. A little bit flat again. That's because we've altered the saddle height. Not a difficult system to master. More difficult to get the key in the right hole than anything else. So now what we're going to do is, now we've got these, I'm going to bring the camera in because someone said to me the other day, he says, you're not bringing the camera in close enough, we can't see what you're doing. And I explained to him that these videos are really for the client, they're not really for YouTube. We just happen to go on YouTube and people happen to like my stuff. But really, these are for the client, these videos. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to zoom in on the bridge. I'm going to move the camera for that slightly. Very unprofessional, but I'm not a professional video person. I don't edit them, I just glue them together and just post them. If there's anything that needs to come out, obviously I will remove that, but there you go. So what we're going to do now is, I'm going to set the radius at the bridge. We've got the intonation done, we've got string height done, so now we're going to set the radius. Once this radius is done, all we've got to do then is go and cut the nut. Or cut the nut slot, should I say. I'm going to check that this is a 14 inch. Could be a 12. That's a 14, as I always thought it would be. And there you go. And with the strings, this string and this string set how I want them, I can already see all the other strings in the middle are now at the incorrect height because I've altered this one and lowered it down quite a bit. So we are going to drop each string onto the top of this radius gauge, because this radius here will match this radius here. And it means each string will be the same height from the frets. From the fretboard. This is going to make a vast difference to the way this guitar plays. And this is again so easy with this system. It's not that I'm not a fan of Evertune, I won't need it because I'm a lead player, and I know you can set this for doing bends and stuff like that, and that's great, but I don't really need it. My guitar's saying pretty good tune. It's not that we don't. This is foolproof. It's a foolproof system. If you're a rhythm player, yeah, you need this. It's just fantastic. You'll never go out of tune. It really is a piece of genius kit. But there you go. That is that done. So again, now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to retune the guitar again. But we have that radius there now matching this radius here. We have all the sounds where we need to be regarding the intonation, whether we've gone forwards or backwards. I have the action set here. Now this is going to change ever so slightly again when I cut the nut. So maybe I'll set this just a little bit higher. But let's see how we are. We're just going to check the tuning now as we are. It's a bit more finicky and you've got a bit more work to do, but once it's done, it's done. Amazing. The G is a little bit flat. Maybe I'll just some stretching the strings. Because they are new strings, we do have to stretch them. Imperfect tune, sort of. Again, check the string height above the 12th fret. 175, 1, 5. Nah, that's it. That is all done. all we need to do now is cut the nut slots. And what I'm going to do is, I'm going to give them all just about the same. From this side, I'm going to cut the string 0.2mm above the first fret, going up here 0.25mm above the first fret, and that will give us a superb playing action. So what I need to do is check how far we are away, and we're a fair bit away on that one. It's just a matter of adding to tune into the nut now. You're not even seeing any of that. Wasn't thinking. Let me explain that again. That camera will focus in a second. Okay, let's do that again. I'm going to be 0.25 on this one above the first fret because there's more vibration, it's a thicker string. And 0.2 on this one. So we're going to need to drop all of these strings a little bit. So the only way we can do that is by cutting the nut slots deeper. So I'm going to show you how we do that. And because we've got 1046 set of strings, I've got 1046 sets of files. And it's just a matter of talking about this system again. You can pull these off easily. We'll take the 0.46 or 0.046 of an inch, and we're just going to cut into the nut slot. We're going to check the angle, and we're going to stay with the angle, slightly flaring. Bring the string back. Still not deep enough, but this is a simple part. You don't want to cut too deep, because if you cut too deep you're going to replace the nut completely, and I've already done that. I don't want to do it again. Costs money and takes time. That's perfect. Let's go and check the tuning again. As with everything, it's a balancing act. And you've got to set all things right. You've got to do things in the right order. The last thing you do is cut the nut. I may need to raise the radiuses again slightly on here, but it's just to stretch the string. It's a little bit sharp, that's because the guitar's laying down. Let's stand it up. Perfect. So there you go. With that string where it needs to be, we're going to move on to the next one, which will be a 36. It's all very self-explanatory, this stuff. We're going to check the height. Well, ways to go with that one, so we're just going to loosen that. And same thing again. So a little bit high. Nice and steady this time, don't go gung-ho. Beautiful. Just buzzing, that's exactly what I want. 4 more to do. I'm going to crack on with those off camera. Once that's done, I'll check the tuning again, we'll check the height at the 12th fret, we'll check the radius again, we'll check the intonation again, make sure the guitar's in tune, and it'll be good to go. And here we are with the guitar all done. And what a remarkable guitar it is. And I've not plugged it in, I've not played it. I don't think I'm going to have time, to be honest with you, but what a fantastic guitar. I still need to put the back plate on, I've just realised, which I'll do in a moment off camera, but what makes this guitar is this Evertune system. I guarantee with that system on your guitar you cannot knock this out of tune. One disadvantage, when you set it up normal you can't bend strings because it always stays in tune. But I do believe you can set it up to be able to bend strings, so that is fantastic. I've not looked into that myself, but wow, what a guitar. So what have we done to it? Well, came in, it had fret buzz everywhere. And the reason for that was the nut was cut that low, the strings were buzzing on the first fret. So there was that to sort out. There are also 6 high spots on 6 frets, which I've levelled, recrowned and polished. In fact, all of the frets have been polished. The fingerboard's been treated. It's had a full setup, what I call an intensive setup. Not charged extra for this Evertune system, even though it's more fiddly to set up, especially when you're a virgin to it. You've not come across one before. More fiddly than tremolo, but no problem there. I really enjoyed this because of that Evertune system. It's fantastic. Not something I would use myself because I'm a lead player and I bend all the time and I don't need it. And I'll be honest with you, since my Concrete Sox days even, I've never played with an in-tune guitar. I have started out with an in-tune guitar, but we never end up staying in tune all the time. But it doesn't bother me because there's always going to be a tiny, tiny little bit out of tune anyway. But don't get me wrong, I'm not knocking this Evertune system at all. It is absolutely fantastic. Look into it, Google it, go and find out about it. I'm not here to advertise about the Evertune, but it's just I've come across one here. Tuning on this is so easy, and this has been such a simple guitar to set up. I have had to alter the intonation slightly. I've also altered the saddle heights, but I've played this guitar up and down the neck. The action is low with 1.25 on the first string above the 12th fret and about 1.65 on the low E above the 12th fret, and it plays up and down sweet as a nut. There's no buzz or ring anywhere. That proves that the frets are all properly levelled. They're all at the same level. The frets on these are they're just beautiful. Let me bring them up. I don't know if you're really going to see them, but they're really quite tall. They're a jumbo, but they're really tall, and it's fantastic. And you must remember that the playing surface, many people think or consider the fingerboard to be the playing surface. It's not. Your playing surface are the frets. That's where your strings touch. You can have frets that high and have no wood underneath. The playing surface is still going to be the frets. That fingerboard's there just to stop you pushing right through and stretching strings too much. It's why you see scalloped guitars, your fingers don't even touch the fingerboard on a scalloped guitar because you're playing the frets. But anyway, wow, what a fantastic thing. So, guitar, it's an Ltd EC-1000-ET. ET, I'd imagine, would stand for Evertune. It's the Deluxe model. A fantastic thing to look at. I'm not a massive fan of glossy black guitars because you can never keep them clean. They scratch so easy and everything, but this is beautiful, isn't it? You know, I just want to show before I do go away, before I finish the video, and I'm going to put the back plate on. I'm going to show the nut I've put in. That is precision cut, that nut. You won't find a gap there, and you won't find a gap this side either. Just super, super smooth. Really, really proud of how I install nuts. So there you go, brand new nut on there. Nut slots are cut, we're nice and low above the first fret, but we're not too low the strings are going to rattle. What a lovely guitar. Beautiful, just give it a twang. Beautiful. No buzz anywhere. So that's it. This one is wrapped up. The guitar belongs to Steve Nesfield, who is the guitarist of Lawnmower Deth, a band I used to gig with back in the 80s. They're still going. In fact, they play Download. You might even see them on stage 1 next year. You've heard that from the horse's mouth, haven't you? No, I haven't, but you have heard it now. Could be a possibility. So watch out for them. Go and check them out. Fantastic fun. I used to gig with them in the 80s with my band Concrete Sox, but this is not about Concrete Sox. This is about this guitar, and it's all done. It's been a fantastic project to work on. I will check the electrics before I hand the guitar back because I've not checked them yet either. Let's not slack. I am hurrying a bit today. I've got things to do. But anyway, the project is finished. So, till next time, well, before I go, remind you about my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. My name is Vic. I'm your fret friend. And until next time, boys and girls, as always, God bless you. Be good to each other. And I'll see you soon.